Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Producer Lounge. We are back for another weekly music production broadcast brought to you by Always 400.
What is episode 176?
That's correct.
Wow.
Still a drum and bass tempo.
Still a drum and bass tempo.
That's right, or halftime tempo, depending.
Boomba clat. Pussy clat.
Pussy clat. Yes, sir. Folks, it's a special week. We have a homie we haven't seen in a min, if you know what I'm saying. We have Backleft with us today.
Oh,
howdy
shit. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
The boy.
And he's center right now. Shit. Isn't that odd?
This is going to suck.
A little out of your element. That's all right.
Wow.
Hey.
Welcome back, buddy. Welcome back.
Thank you, dude. Sorry, I'm making a little post for pals.
For
Post for Pals.
Post for
Oh,
Pals. That's
Post for
right.
Pals.
Yeah, that's his
Peepees.
company.
Yeah.
Post for Pals.
Peepee.
I like that, Dave, you have the green shirt on. It reminds me of our very, very early
I don't know what you're
podcast.
talking about, dude.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you're right.
It's a cloaking shirt.
Your cloaking device on.
Yes.
It reminds me of the floating head Caleb days.
Yep. The early days.
Good old days.
Yeah.
Go back and check out episode 1 or 2 or 3 or 6.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
1 through 15 or something.
Also
It was a while.
don't do that.
Yeah.
No, they're great. They're full of little nugs.
That's true.
Not necessarily correct nugs, but they're full of nugs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We might be saying a lot of wrong things.
It's just
we
opinions.
were saying things.
It's just opinions.
Yeah, you go listen through these things, you'll hear our minds change over time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Things have really changed since those days.
Quick shout out to Censura Music for the follow. Thanks, Briff.
Yes.
Thank you, Dope.
An hour ago.
Welcome to the podcast.
Wow, and Bezio just started following 6 days ago?
Just
On the last podcast.
Yeah, literally the last podcast.
well, maybe he just made his Twitch.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
That's okay.
Indeed.
We love you, Max.
So, how's everyone's production week been going?
Kind of weird.
Kind of weird.
I had a weird week. Yeah.
What happened?
You know how you just, I don't know, you just have those weeks where you're like, just not on it.
Sure.
You know, you can't like get into the flow. Everything just feels weird and wrong. So I've just been making weird other non-bass music stuff and just playing with that. And that's been fun. That's been a nice
Sick?
change of pace.
Sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, your weird week, you still made a dope track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fuck
An
you.
off week.
Honestly.
Right.
Honestly, fuck you.
Well, that was at the
You
very
actually
end
pulled
of it.
okay.
There was like 5
All
other
right,
songs
all right.
before that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys
for
heard
sure.
the decent one though.
Well,
Hey.
good for you for hammering through.
Thank
Can you
you,
pop off the
Jesus.
AC
Oh.
so we can get a nice...
Yeah, that's actually way better.
Oh my god.
So
It's crazy how loud
Of
that thing
course.
is.
I know. Rumbly bumbly.
It was cool though. I've just been in like bass brain mode and like planning for my set mode for like the 2.5 months prior.
Bass brain.
Yeah.
Bass brain mode.
So it felt really nice to just be like, okay, let's just like add vocal chops and make it like pretty and just not do that thing. I was like, oh, this is fun.
It still sounded like an Aznadel track to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully.
Yeah.
Fully. Yeah.
You could have easily played that at your black box set.
You think that would work in a set like that?
Yeah.
It sounds like you.
That's cool. That's good because
Yeah.
I always
That's all you
overthink
need.
the fuck out of that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be just squishy and a 10 out of 10
Halftime
the
or
whole
whatever.
time, you know? Yeah, you
Mhm.
can change it up. And it's not that much of a change.
Do you think how would that work like branding wise?
Fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still sounds just
Alright.
like you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could put that
You-
on an EP of 2 songs and the other one's a squishy banger and it would probably do just fine.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
wouldn't think 2 thoughts.
Maybe I'm just overthinking
Your branding
the fuck
is
out of it.
your branding is the branding we like, which is artist branding.
Yeah.
Like I'm an artist. Listen to my music. Like
Mhm.
that's what your branding is.
Right.
All
That's what all of our branding is. Just fucking. You're here for me.
Yeah.
You know?
In whatever form I have
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
available.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
Is
I've-
that something you've thought about a lot?
Yeah, totally. Lately, I've been way more into like art shit. I've started like drawing a bunch. I bought like 200 bookmarks, like blank white bookmarks, and started drawing because I don't know.
That's fun.
I've been like it's just fun to give them out to the homies. So I've been like drawing a big pile of them, and then like a homie will come over. I should have brought him over here, honestly. But,
I know. I would have loved one.
Yeah, totally. Next time. But
Austin reads a lot.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much.
But I always see him reading. Yeah. He's always outside sitting in a chair reading.
Yeah, it's like, but I got into like drawing and shit, and then me and my buddy have a side project, so I did like the art on Illustrator, and I've been just like learning how to do, you know, like visual art stuff.
Cool.
And I feel like that is a nice like binding force, so that you can do more of that shit where it's like the music has a little more leeway to stretch out if you have the companion visual component.
Interesting.
For people to like attach to, and I feel like it just gives you more of an opportunity to like branch a little bit.
Especially if the visual side of it is coming directly from you.
Yeah, it's
you're
like
leading the
consistent.
charge. Yeah, it's consistent, and it's like your vision. Like you can hire any sort of visual artist, and you can tell them like, here's my idea, and they can like hit the vein very well, but it'll be their interpretation of it.
Yes.
Where it's like when you get good at that shit, you're like, no, here's exactly the thing I was imagining.
Yeah.
Here's how you package it.
That was kind of like the issue I was having is I was working with good artists, and like recently worked with a really good artist who I'm like a very big fan of, but like if you don't work with the same artists over time, then you get this kind of like stratified result.
Drift.
Yeah, you can tell them, you can show them as much reference material as you want, you can tell them as many things as you want to, but everybody's like an interpretation. So then it just ends up being like me being kind of a fuck ass about it and being like, I need autonomy and consistency and whatever, and then I just take things into my own hands. But like, I don't know, I still have like a lot to do with the visual side. Like I have to figure that out, but it's really fun, dude. Like it's like another way to express and work away from the music, because when I'm having an off week with the music, maybe that's the thing I work on, something more functional to be like, let's make some stuff to like inspire back into the thing.
Yeah,
But
100%.
I'll do that a lot.
And then
Yeah,
you don't have
totally.
to feel like a piece of shit where you're like just like playing video games or watching a TV show or
Hey.
like whatever. I knew you guys are gonna say something.
Video
like
games are okay, bro.
Yeah.
if you
I
thought
feel
of that as a
fine.
thing that you would think you're a piece of shit, which I do for some reason. But it's nice to do that because you're like, oh, I can still be like productive and like do a thing.
Sure.
Yeah, of
and-
course.
But you're like, I don't want to do
Yeah.
music right now. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know.
Right,
I like
right.
that. I like that.
Hell
But
yeah.
also, fuck Illustrator. I hate Illustrator so much.
Oh,
Illustrator's kind of
great.
ass for sure,
Dude.
but like I haven't interacted with enough else. Like I've done some Photoshop stuff, and Photoshop's fun, but like I really like the idea of tracing because so like I like have spent a lot of time putting TV shows on and manually fading audio clips and like stuff that I can do very passively with my hands, but still like do something else. So like Illustrator's become a situation where I get to listen to music instead of make music and like listen to shit, find shit, and just sit there and trace assets or like vectorize things so that I can use them for other shit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I also love that too, where you're just like, oh, I get to go like visual mode and just like put on a new playlist a homie sent me or like whatever podcast, and you just get to do that.
And as I've said many, many times on this podcast, easy. You're just looking. You're looking at it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, visual artist, try using your ears sometime. It's kind of fucking hard. It's
Not as
not just so
reliable.
plain and simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at it with your eyes, you're like, it looks good, it looks bad. Like,
That's honestly a pretty
I
solid
love
take.
shitting on visual artists.
Since day one, you've done that on the pod. It's pretty great. Pretty great. And it's kind of
If I wanted to have an easy time of it, I would have fucking just painted or whatever the fuck.
Right. It's true.
Oh my God.
Deep cut.
It's a fair bit.
We love you, visual artists.
Yes.
We love you. We respect you.
No, I do.
I mean, all of us but Dave.
I respect the fuck out of an artist.
Yeah.
In general.
Of any
I
kind.
understand every single art has its fucking tiers and bullshit that you have to get through to be awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It would be a lot of work as well. It's just easier to figure out if you're doing a good job or not because you could just look at it
Right.
and you get to find out. With your ears, you're just like, I think I think it's this. That's the
Yeah.
problem."
I think. Yeah.
It can be so fucking hard to figure out with your ears what is happening.
Yeah, I feel like there's more variables with your ears too, just in the sense of like you're in a room and the room matters.
Yeah.
You're like listening
totally.
to the room,
Oh.
like a visual situation.
Absolutely.
Is like maybe the resolution of the
Lighting.
screen.
Yeah, lighting.
Lighting of a room.
Yeah.
If it's like actual, just like a piece of canvas, you got to light it nicely to really see the colors correctly.
Very good point.
There's a lot of parallels.
Yeah, totally.
That's something I'm super grateful that like earlier on in my production journey, you guys figured out very quickly that acoustic treatment is super, super important. Because I don't think, like, who knows how long it would have taken me to be like, oh, maybe I should look into this thing,
Yeah,
Whereas,
especially
like,
if you're not referencing and stuff.
Yeah.
Like even with treatment and shit, you have to listen to music that's actually good in your setup,
Right.
or else you're kind of fucked.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to constantly listen to it, because if you just listen to your own stuff, it's really easy to get like jaded and cause like a drift with like how you hear everything.
It's so funny you said
Agreed.
jaded, because I was just about to bring up Jade Cicada.
He texted me earlier.
Synchronicity.
He texted me. What the
Dude,
fuck?
yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, you
And then
saw the whole...
He
Did
did
you see the
text me
follow-up
earlier
text?
as well.
Yeah.
The follow-up
Yeah.
text was like, "This is
Not-
actually
yeah,
me,
it's
Yeah,
Jade
not a
Cicada.
spam.
It's
No.
not a spam."
Our little group
This is
chat thing
definitely
we
not-
have with all the artists. Like,
This is
3
definitely not a
people
robot
posted, like,
doing this.
Yeah.
It's still not fucking you.
I know it is a weird thing. It's
Funny.
just like, this is actually me. Like,
Yeah.
kinda.
I know that it is you in the sense of like this is a bot doing your shit. I didn't think somebody was sliding into my phone that's like in a fucking random country trying to scam me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, with
I
Jade
knew it was
Cicada.
you doing some
Right.
like phone number bullshit. Whatever. Love Jade Cicada. Great music, great guy. But
Yeah.
Hilarious.
But
Marketing.
Indeed.
he likes to do the thing where, and I don't know even where I heard this. I'm sure that where I heard this, they heard this from a friend who heard it from a friend. So
yeah,
like,
so
who
it's
knows?
definitely true.
So it's 100% true.
For sure.
Yes.
But I guess a lot of the times he does just reference his own tracks mix wise.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I could
That's
see
a level
that.
of confidence that
I
I do
know.
not fucking
No.
have.
Yeah.
No.
Me either.
When you get to a certain
No.
level, or you're, that confident, or you've gotten enough feedback from people, I could see it. But like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't have that level
no,
of tracks.
No.
no.
What happens
Personally.
when your music sounds better
know
than
that.
everybody else? Like
Oh.
that's essentially what's happening in that situation. It's like that's cool that you get that consistency, but like holy shit, like Resonant Language or Jade or whatever, where they have it so dialed that it's just like that's got to be weird, dude.
That's fucked up, right?
Yeah, you're like in
Yeah.
a glass box of emotion
Mm.
Yeah.
at that point. I don't really want to be there. I want to be humble and being like, oh, these guys are making theirs like dirty. Like I want to reference that. Or these guys are making it hyper clean. I want to reference that.
It will keep
Like-
your shit consistent, I
Consistent.
suppose. But
Yeah,
like,
which
Yeah.
is boring. to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
That does
right.
sound kinda
That is-
boring.
That
I
is kind of
I
boring.
don't. Yeah.
my shit changes constantly.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe fair for like an EP. If you have 4
Sure,
tracks,
sure.
keep them in a vein, and then your next EP, maybe that's the dirty,
Yeah.
fucked up, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could easily see that. But that's more of like a concept kind of thing, as opposed to
Concept,
like a
yeah.
pure referencing kind of
Mhm.
ordeal.
Well,
Mhm.
we know it's true. So
Are you referencing
weird
tracks?
move, Jaded.
Am I referencing tracks?
Yeah. Is that something you kind of do a lot?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, not a lot, but like if I'm starting to feel like a mixdown is drifting away from me, I'll just pull in like a Resonant Language tune or something that I've heard on Stacks that really fucked me up and I know is like really solid. I'll just pull it
Heard on
in and then I'll
Stacks.
feel like shit about myself
Yeah,
and then
I know.
like because there's no way to point B in that situation for me where it's just like, oh, I just need to throw an EQ on track 55. Like what the fuck? No.
Right. No.
I'm just kind of shot at that point.
Yeah.
And then I put the computer down.
Yeah.
Right.
I like to if I throw in a reference track later into my song when it's already like kind of develops, I like to turn the reference track down. Like before
Yeah,
it even-
yeah, that's
so
right.
I'm like,
That's correct. You're like this. My tune actually sounds way better than this. This kind of sucks, actually.
You turn it down to lower volume.
Yeah.
It is so hard. It's so hard to get it A-B a bowl because
Yeah.
like if I'm referencing it, I probably don't have a master on my track, and then I'm trying to A/B against a master,
mhm.
and then even like I'm looking at it like on a graph of some sort and trying to like compare the two, and then I'm also like, but there's no master chain on this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
know?
you do mastering in like a separate session?
I just do it at the end. Usually when I'm pretty ready. I mean, I will eventually be able to do that, but I don't do it until I'm like pretty. At least currently, I haven't been doing it that way.
Yeah,
But
totally.
I don't know. What about you? Do you mix into a mastering chain?
Yeah, I just mix into a limiter because it's like I feel like most of the decisions,
I
the
do
more
that as well.
yeah, right. Like the more granular you can make a decision, the more appropriate it is to solve a specific problem. I feel like so it's like if I'm solving everything in the mix down, the master all it should do is make it loud. And it's like you use all your clipping and your other shit to like refine the individual elements, and then at the end you're kind of just mixing together a bunch of like sausages for, you know, if you're using a ton of clipping or whatever.
Right.
You're just like all the dynamics are squeezed out of those elements to the effect that they need to be, and then you just push it loud. I also just like doing that so that I can write a tune in however amount of time, like 3-4 hours, one sitting, blackout, flow state kind of thing, and then it's actually like playable because it's just purely loud enough to play next to something. Not it's playable because it's perfect, because it's certainly fucking
For
not,
sure.
but,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But you can kind of test it with a crowd and just see how they react, and it will be loud enough to mix with the songs and all that.
Right. That's key.
Yeah, it's interesting. I will always have a limiter on the pre-master or whatever, and then be making the tune. But I tend to be under the limiter in general. I don't like push into it as I'm making. And I'm not even really trying to do that. I'm just trying to make it sound clean and like balanced, and it just ends up being that way for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm doing a lot of clipping and things on the way in for sure.
Yeah, that's usually where I'll end up too. Like I'll not really pay attention, but by the time it's all said and done, the final limiter, like maybe the kick and snare are tapping it, but all I got to do is just like push it up 6 dB, and I'm like, cool, I'm print.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
and if you did your job right, it shouldn't like, you know, have any issues. If you push it up 6 or 7, it should just sing, and you're like, oh, okay.
We've been using Vision 4X a bunch, and
That's cool.
It's the
having
best.
that for a way to like visually balance things fucking helps so much.
It
It is
really
insane. Like just knowing like, okay, my low end is where I like to see it sitting, and my high end is like where I like to see it sitting, because it's never the way I want it to sound. Like if I'm just sitting there listening to it, it's not the way I like it to sound. But it will sound better once it gets smushed, and I know that. So I've just push it to those levels and try and make it sound good from those levels, which is fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little annoying, but it helps, and that to me comes from
amazing.
the referencing too, because like you pull in a mastered track and you look at it on your visual, and you're like, oh wow, the kick knocks like over 2 dB over where the sub is, and the snares just this fucking peeking out everywhere, and the high is like perfectly just right under where it needs to be, and you're like, oh, okay. And you just kind of
That's
take
what I need
that
to
to
do.
heart, and you just,
Yeah.
then you can kind of just like have fun and make choices as long as it ends up looking similar. I'm like,
yes.
this is going to slam. This is good enough, I suppose. You know?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that for sure. Where it's just like using visual tools is super important. I'm a big fan of Flux. That's like the one that I use.
Flux gang.
Yeah, that one's real solid.
I couldn't get it to work.
Oh, really?
Well,
Dude, the
at least the
routing is a
crack.
bitch.
Yeah, I had a crack.
It is annoying.
Sorry, FBI, I had a crack.
The NSA
Sorry,
is
FBI.
watching.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not using it anymore. Okay?
No, I'm not, because it
We're using
fucking
Vision 4X.
it would break
Which
all
we
the
paid
time,
for.
and I'd have to reinstall it, and then it wouldn't work. And then finally one day it just like could not communicate, and I was like, "Fuck it." And then Vision, they came out with their one, and I was like, "Thank God!" And it was like $30. I was like,
Really?
"Yeah, I think it's 60
Caught it
right
on a
now,
deal.
but
That's
yeah, you
still
catch it
so
on a deal."
cheap
Yeah.
compared to fucking
It's so
Flux is
cheap.
brutal.
And it's
Yeah,
so
isn't it
good.
like $250 or
Dude,
almost
it's
$300?
$400 if you don't have a student discount. If you have a student discount, it's $200, which is still just so fucking aggressive to like look at some shit.
Yeah.
And then I gave you can split it
these
with a
days
homie 'cause you
especially.
get 2 licenses, but
Oh,
yeah, no,
okay.
seriously. But you could split it with a homie and get 2 licenses or whatever. But I ended up giving my other one to Tom to try and like be friends with him or something. I don't know. And then he just didn't pay. Like I didn't ask for money because I was like, oh, you know, it's like whatever. And then I just out $200, but.
I mean, I guess it worked, dude.
Communism.
Of course, right?
You played the
Communism, share
fucking communist.
everything. He was like, "You want me to
socialist.
pay?" Yeah, exactly. He guilt tripped me in.
We love you, Tom.
Yeah, of course.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love. My favorite thing in Flux though is I can't think of the fucking name of it, but it's one that's like that heat map kind of thing, where it just
A
like
spectrograph
maybe
where it
sounds about
scrolls
right.
to the
The
Yeah.
scrolls to
time,
the side. Yeah,
That-
yeah,
that-
yeah.
time-based
That's the best one
one.
ever.
Yeah.
That's the fucking shit.
It's the
I
goat.
use the fuck out of that thing.
It's so good.
I need to use that more like over like because it's like an overhead view of an EQ. It's this thing, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Oh yeah.
yeah. So like spectrogram or whatever, it's like the overhead view of like an EQ. Harmor has one built in. It's really
Yeah.
good for like resynthesizing sounds because you can like
Oh, yeah.
specify like which areas and whatever. But like my favorite module in that is the graph that's like it's got on the x-axis it's your stereo width.
Yeah.
So there's like a center
Yeah.
and then there's a left and a right, and then on the y-axis is frequency. So you can like
Yeah, you get the vagina.
exactly. Yeah, you get like the I call it the Christmas tree.
I know.
Okay. But yeah, you get like the mono sub, and then it flares out, and then at the top you go back to like mono kind of. And
Yep, that one's great.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like stereo width is where I fuck up. Stereo width is where I'm like fucking up the most.
Yeah,
I feel
it's-
like where it's like I'm not perceiving that, and I think that my tune's not loud, but it's really because I don't have stereo information. So like that as a visual reference is really nice to
That is
know.
a fucking thing to figure out.
It is
Yeah,
a thing
dude.
to pay attention to that I'm not paying attention to till I'm
I
like
never
60%
do.
through a track, and I'm like,
Exactly.
oh, I got to put things wide.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been way better about it recently. I tend to try and like determine where the width is on a thing as I'm putting it in based on the other things that are sitting around it or whatever.
Yeah.
I did a thing. I was like mixing down a tune yesterday, and I have like a really prominent like lead sound that's aggressive. It's just like a boopy sound, and then a bass coming underneath it. And what I was noticing is like I couldn't get the lead noise to like sit in a level that I wanted it to while the bass was really sitting nicely. As well. And I was fucking with them while I was mixing it. I put a clipper on the lead sound and have with Bitwig an audio rate modulator connected sidechaining to the bass.
Very cool.
And it's like low passed or whatever, so it's like just like 100 and below or something like that. That's doing the modulating, and then having that modulate the drive of the clipper. So as the bass hits, it like pushes the lead sound into a clipper, and then I'm after that then taking like the mids and pulling them out of that clipped sound, and then wet drying that in with the regular signal. So it's literally just distorting with the bass, but only in the sides for the most part. It's doing a little bit of the mids, but it's giving more distortion out to the sides with the lead when the lead's hitting at the same time as the bass, which is kind of like, it's weirdly like meshing them together. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's a really
like a
creative
weird
solution. Yeah, that's a really fucking cool solution. I have to try that because like I end up doing like subtractive stuff a lot of the time where I'll use like the sidechain function on Soothe, or I'll use like the dynamic EQ thing in Pro Q3.
Right.
And I'll do like the side chaining for specific bands or whatever. Because I feel like subtractive stuff is really helpful because it always saves you headroom for the most part. I mean, EQs don't necessarily work exactly like that, but yeah, like I don't know if you've ever done like the test where you look at, so say you have like a signal that's pushed to the absolute max with like a limiter or a clipper or whatever, and then you throw like a really steep cut after that, it actually adds signal because of like an EQ just working as like inverting the phase, feeding it back in, canceling shit out, but it doesn't happen like a true way. And then there's like phase cancellation and additional signal and shit. But yeah, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, subtractive shit doesn't always work exactly like that where you're saving headroom, but like I feel like leaving space for shit tends to work better than trying to make something louder on top of it. The difference with your solution is like there's a tonal, or like there's like a characteristic to distorting them together that just gives you like a different result, which is really fucking cool.
It's definitely not the answer all the time, for sure.
But in this case,
it's
it's
kind
cool.
of a fun way. It's a very simple tune too, so it kind of makes it pop a little bit more.
Yeah,
which
that's
is fun.
sick. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, I honestly don't even. I did it yesterday, so I'm not even settled on how I feel about it. But yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, I've been trying to pay attention to that when I'm making my drums. I'll usually like before I do any kind of width or side stuff on like basses or leads or anything, I just focus on like, all right, what can the drums do to kind of spice up that
Such
area?
a good way to look at it. Yeah.
And it's usually just the tops.
Yes.
You know, like maybe the snare will have a convolution reverb on parallel in some rooms, so it has a little bit of bleed into the sides, or maybe if you're making a dub track, it's just, you know. But usually I'll like split up the hi-hats. As of recently, I've just been using the kilohertz comb with the width.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I
it's
love
just got
doing
a witch.
that.
Dude, it's so good, right?
It's great because it subs to mono perfectly every time. It never has an issue. It never phases. It's
Shout out
good to
kilohertz for that.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's the best, and
Yeah.
it goes like pretty fucking
Yeah.
pretty fucking
Don't
hard.
push that shit. Like,
yeah, it goes 100% fucking all width.
yeah.
But you know, just the mix knob. But
Yep.
doing that a lot and trying to like sprinkle like ones like really wide that's like really sloshy, and then as they get more staccato and more high in the frequency range, they kind of come
Push
in.
it in.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
to kind of keep to the vagina,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
if you will.
Gotta keep to the vagine.
Yep.
Indeed. Yeah, I feel like with stereo, the most important thing is having mono shit so that it's like there's contrast. It's
Right.
like anything where it's just
Yeah.
like you
Exactly.
need one to feel the other.
Yeah.
So that's like a good way to think about that, I feel like.
Right.
Yeah, because then there's like a whole backdrop, I think, of like things, and then you can have like your bass sound that's right down the middle with stuff happening really wide and kind of, but then it like it makes a stage for everything to kind of hang out in, which I think helps. And I hear that a lot in a lot of tracks.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
I've been trying to pay more attention to shit like that.
Yeah, totally.
It's fun using comb filters to add stereo, specifically the kilohertz one too, because when you like kind of define where you want the frequency of the comb to be, you can get like little like ringing, or like it just emphasizes certain harmonics, so your reverb is like slightly different of a tone,
Yeah.
which the
Yeah.
comb is kind of doing in general, but you can like harmonically
Right.
sync it,
Right.
kind of.
Yeah.
Dude, I fucking love that shit. Where it's just you get a weird like tonal ring out of your.
Yeah, or you can make it dissonant, which is also
Or yeah,
super
Oh,
you
fun.
cool.
intentionally
Yeah.
just make it a little more fucked up.
Yeah, drive it into a distortion or something and
Right.
like really pull that shit out.
Yeah.
Random modulator on the frequency.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let off,
totally.
let it
Dude,
just-
I've been wanting to get good
Yeah,
at the
drift.
note,
Yeah.
the note modulator, like where you can dial it in specifically so that like
Right.
ideally your comb filter would key track, you know, if you're doing like
Right.
yeah, that shit's really cool, but like I haven't figured out like a perfect way to do it, but I did a lesson with Alchemy, if you know, like the neuro guy.
I don't know him.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
okay, his shit is fucking phenomenal. You
Yeah,
should
he's
definitely check out his
crazy
YouTube.
good.
I know that
He's
dude.
super
Okay.
cracked, but
So good.
Damn, I'm
Yeah,
out of the
dude.
loop.
yeah, his like way he looks at making music is super cool too, because like I have gone back and forth between like audio and MIDI a lot, just like in like the control of MIDI, but then like audio, the writing sort of like implications of being able to do really creative stuff because you can do it very quickly if you
Fuck
have
it
a
up.
big mud pie or whatever.
Yep.
So like the way he looks at shit in general, and I think the way Chi looks at stuff, because he like learned a lot from Chi, is just like making something out of anything, like this sort of like audio alchemy thing where you can take a whatever. So I've like gone back more toward audio because of what he said.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I just fucking love working with audio. Dude.
Same.
I do too, man. I do too.
So much
Same.
more fun and like interactive. It like feels
Yeah.
closer to like an improvised thing in the box than you know working with MIDI and like sitting there and fucking with it and mixing at the same time as sound designing, which is like I don't know, not fun sometimes.
Yeah. It is so weird, like learning
Yeah,
all
for
these
sure.
different avenues and processes of how you can just make music
Yeah.
in these DAWs. Like it's
Yeah.
so absurd.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Right. That's cool though. I'll check out Alchemy. Is
Yeah.
it spelled with a K?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
like
I think I have seen the name
yeah,
at least.
you
then.
probably have. I'd be surprised if you hadn't seen him somewhere.
If it's what I'm thinking of, is it DMB?
He's like a neuro, like halftime kind of guy.
Let's go.
He's sick.
Alchemist is the one I'm thinking of.
No,
Fuck.
Alchemist
the
might be
beat
the
guy.
He's
Well,
the
there's-
beat guy.
There is
Yeah.
a beat guy. There's also a DMB guy.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, I don't even
And
know that guy.
I think they're all legends.
yeah,
I think they're like I think every single one of the alchemy related artists that are well known are like super good.
I have to change my name, dude.
I know. I was just gonna say you just choose the name Alchemy.
Right.
And you
Yeah, now you
skyrocket.
you're good then.
yeah,
Or
You're
Alchemist.
good.
Alchemical response, and you just
Yeah.
become fucking.
It does kind of make sense that somebody that would gravitate toward having a name like that would be really good at it.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure,
Like-
dude.
You gotta own up to the name, right?
You better
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
You better be fucking good. If you're not good and you pick a name like that, then like fuck, man.
If you're mid and your name is Alchemy, that's
Right.
not good.
Same thing with like EOS. Dan
Right.
stands for
dude.
Engineer of Sound,
Right.
and he's owning up to it.
Yeah, he certainly
Coming
at
fucking
goddamn-
does that.
Goddamn,
I didn't
yeah.
know that. That's so cool.
He does
Yeah.
like that shit. lot.
He's owning it.
Yeah.
Fucking
He
dude
works
is a
on it.
Wizard.
Seriously.
Yeah, you gotta be a grinder in that way if you're gonna choose a thing like that.
Right. So I've been playing with trying to get more like interesting delays.
Mm.
So what I've been doing is just like a very, very simple, like long feedback delay, and I'll like put it in like a parallel track, not like a
Yep.
chain, so
Yep.
I can like flatten it and just have the full thing.
Mm.
And then I've been trying to like process that and like get weird tonal things as it evolves in time, you know? Have you
Yep.
guys ever tried to play with stuff like that?
Yes, for sure.
course.
Like,
Hell yeah.
yeah, dude. Like dual delay in kilohertz is really fucking cool. I don't know if you've like messed around with it at all,
I haven't.
but there's like so in Snap Heap, I'll do the same thing, like parallel, like on the same channel, but like parallel processing, whatever. So you can do like parallel mode on Snap Heap, and then you do dual delay, and then you have access to all the other stuff, right? So like you can do.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, right.
Of
Like it's like,
course.
and then you have all your modulators and whatever else. So you can have it like evolve in the way you would want, or you can have it like randomized and you can flatten it like the same way that you would or whatever. But yeah, that's like a fun thing to do. And then,
I didn't fuck with that delay at all.
dude, dual
That
delay is
blows
so
my mind.
cool.
Actually, I need to
That
do
sounds
that.
sick.
There's
Yeah.
another shit in all the kilohertz stuff that I didn't know was a thing, but there's like a little drop down menu on most of the plugins, and there's a little dice like
Yeah.
thing. Have you seen that?
Oh, the randomizer? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I didn't know that was a thing. So like if you build out a big chain like that, you add a bunch of modulation, you start hitting the dice thing.
And it's just like, oh, here's a
Yeah.
whole new fucking sick thing.
Exactly. It's
It's
just
weird.
like crazy.
You
I feel like I
fast
only
key
see it on,
that
like,
shit
some
so you
of
can
them.
click a button.
Yeah, hotkey and just like randomize the whole shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you could do that, right? If you had
I
like a
wi-
little macro, right?
Dude, well, the thing is, like, I want to be able to map like the modulators to that randomize button, because like, how cool would it be if you could do like a remap for like an on-off, and then like just trigger it every time a new note hits, and it randomizes everything in the
For
whole
sure.
thing.
Oh shit!
But I don't know that you
don't
can
think
do that
it's-
yet,
Damn.
Okay.
which is fucked.
Are you in Bitwig?
Not yet, not
Not yet.
entirely, but like
I remember we talked about Bitwig the last time you were here.
It's so cool, dude. But like, okay, so like how I learned Illustrator was like, and how I want to learn Bitwig, because I've heard people talking about learning Bitwig this way. Also, there's this dude Dan, I forget what he goes by. It's shitty, but he runs the Ableton podcast, and like,
Oh, that dude.
yeah, and he just built a bot that's like he trained a model like a GPT. I don't know if you've heard of like GPTs. You can train.
Oh shit.
You know, an individual. So he trained it on like a shit ton of like his episodes of the Ableton podcast and a bunch of other stuff. So now you could like sit there with like a voice. You could talk to GPT and be like, "How do I do this? How do I do this?" And it'll tell you in real time.
My God.
So that's how I learned Illustrator. Was like, but I was
Holy
typing.
shit.
But I was typing. How tight would it be if you did like?
You could talk to it.
You could just talk to it, bro.
You
How do I do
definitely-
this?
You
Sick.
definitely can.
You know what I'm saying? There's
You definitely
no.
can do that.
Yeah, there's no way you can't. So it's like,
Damn.
yeah.
Ridiculous. I'm not going to train that.
Yeah, I'm not training the goddamn
Yeah,
thing.
I
but
am
like,
not that big of a nerd.
Yeah, I just don't know where I would pull the information from, unless you could pull from like YouTube videos, bro.
I would have
videos.
to. I would have to.
Or
learn
I mean, we
from
could
a
make an always
ChatGPT.
400 one.
Yeah,
That's where my mind went. Like,
train it on all these podcasts.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What kind of fart is the wettest fart?
The problem is I'd have to like learn from a GPT how to train a GPT. You just because like I don't
You feed it.
feed
you
it where?
feed it data.
Where is this?
So
Where is this?
you would basically transcribe every one of these podcasts, which you could do.
Right, but
with,
where
with
am I doing
AI.
this?
With
Is there
On-
a website?
Yeah, totally.
That
Yeah,
just
like
does it all for free.
ChatGPT has
Yes.
GPTs. You can make your own, and then you give it PDFs, and
Right.
you
Is this
have
something
it
I have
trained
to?
up.
Is this something I have to download?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you might have to
See,
pay for
this
it.
is already way too much effort, like to make a thing.
Dude, once you see what the
I
thing can do, though, that could be
Yeah.
badass. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Oh my
I
God.
mean,
super cool. I don't know, such a fucking
it'd
interesting
be good for the
concept.
patrons, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever
For
we
the
open up a
page.
Patreon,
Yeah,
page.
dude. Yeah,
For the page, dude.
dude, when we get the page going, maybe we give them a fucking 400 GPT, like, and you just say, "Good luck."
Yeah.
Good luck with what information this gives you.
Yeah, exactly. Ask that thing something.
Yeah.
That's
Probably
awesome.
full of gold, dude.
Yeah. Straight up.
Goddamn
Honestly, you
right,
guys have
dude.
talked about lots of fucking really solid
Sure.
shit on here. You've had John.
And we have a
you've
lot
had
of
Tom.
angles.
Yeah.
So that's where my mind went, is like, it's gonna get a lot of different perspectives on how the right thing
Yeah.
would be. So I
Oh,
wonder,
true.
I wonder how it would say like, here's
This is the
predominantly the thing, but here's two other options where some people said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because there's no right way or wrong way to do anything
Mm.
in music production. I mean, there is in terms of the mainstream, but really you can get around doing audio rate modulation of like 7 different ways.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah. I feel like even rules of thumb aren't hard rules. Like it's like you
Right.
could be like, how do I make a bass sound? One might tell you to put the sub in mono. One might not prioritize that at all because it doesn't, you
Yeah.
know, like it's
Yeah.
just, I don't know. There's so many ways to point B that thinking of like a true, it's not like you feed it a history book and it tells you what's in the book.
right. It's not facts. It's not dates
Yeah.
and names.
Mm.
It's all like opinions and experience.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
I'm excited for like
That's a
the
fucking
more and more
hilarious idea.
AI integration into art in like a healthy, fun way, not in like a very scary way that we all know, you know?
I love this fucking idea of a thing that could teach you shit.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
If you
that,
actually did have like really good info to feed it.
you just give it all of the bitwig everything, and
Just
you're
give
like,
it the fucking manual, bro.
Yeah,
if you're
just
gonna
all the
if you're gonna feed it
manuals.
text, like give it the manual,
Every
give it
single manual.
yeah, exactly, and
Dude.
just be like,
oh,
Give
uh,
it even Emmanuel.
yeah, give it Emmanuel.
Yeah.
my homie,
that dude's
Emmanuel.
a homie. Yeah, he deserves to be
Manuel?
AI integrated.
Yeah, give it Manuel, dude.
Dude.
Yeah,
That would be
dude.
nice
See?
for like Melda, because Melda shit is
yeah.
so just deep
Not intuitive.
and not intuitive.
Yeah.
Also that. So if you just made like a
And
Melda
gorgeous.
AI GPT thing,
Oh,
and you're
dude.
like, what
I
does
wonder
this now
if they
do?
have manuals.
They do.
They
for
gotta,
that shit.
right?
They definitely have a
They
manual.
have manuals. Yeah. I'm not
So
gonna
you
read a
give,
manual
You
though.
give all of the Melda Manuels
Manuels.
The
yeah.
Melda
to the
Manuels.
GPT, and then you have a thing that teaches you.
Yeah, you might have to
Melda.
transcribe it
Yeah.
into
That'd be
English,
sick.
but
John, if you're
Oh,
secretly
it can
listening, will you do
transcribe
that
it.
real
It's
quick?
AI, you know?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like, you're like, how do I get this frequency shifter to blah, blah, blah? And it's like,
Yeah.
Senor.
So literally,
it's all written in Spanish for some reason.
yeah. God damn it. Back
Like,
to the.
See?
I gave it Manuels and not manuals. Shit.
Fucked up, dude.
Damn it.
Back to the making like the macro whatever thing with the randomization and kilohertz.
Mhm.
I have this like rack set up for M Turbo Reverb, where it's basically I go in and like manually
There you go. Thank you.
randomize each individual multiband to just give me like some sort of thing.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
trying for so long to figure out like how can I just link this button to one thing so I can just click this every time, and I
Yeah.
couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So I bet you
Mm.
if we built a fucking AI GPT thing, it'd be like, oh yeah, dumbass, just fucking do this and this,
That
and you're
would be
good.
sick, dude. Or at
Yeah.
least give you like a solid workeraround where it's like
Or
use
at least
these
a workaround.
modulators to modulate these parameters so that it effectively acts in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have 16 macros, right, or more, depending on how many times you want to nest a certain rack or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you just press the random button there, which you can totally modulate that thing. So
Mhm.
like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is sick. They added that. Was that was a 12?
I
That
think
was
or
that's
was that
12.
11?
Yeah.
I think
I can't
think it's
remember now.
12
thing.
I don't think
I
I,
think
have
it's
it on 11.
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, that shit's really cool.
It's always annoying though. I fucking somehow I click the random button on accident like so much, and I don't realize when I do it, and then I play the thing, and it just like either like ear blasts me or like someone say it, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, God forbid you have like a drive knob as one of the macros.
Yeah.
Just blast your shit.
Just fucking. Oh my god.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's the future because, like, I don't know. I was really concerned about the AI stuff at the beginning. Not concerned in the sense that, like, it just, like, was discouraging, right? Where it's like, shit, somebody's going to make AI music and they're going to have it be their whole project and it's going to be way cooler than anything I can make. And, you know, that was kind of like and exactly. It just ends up being meh because it's like the continuity, I've realized, like, you can hear it. Like, there's just no way to use the exact same processes. True. Right now. Like, you could be like, you would just have to be so specific of like, use these exact processes because everything is a product of process, right? So like, you could feed it abstractions, you could feed it a bunch of sentences, you could feed it 12 paragraphs, but like, if it's not super specific to the processes, then it's going to yield a different result with different mixdowns, with different blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be diluted from, you know, an artist that's doing things the same way all the time.
Yeah,
Right,
I think it will get to the point where you can dial it into like dope quality, but this is what we preach around here is the fucking artist kind of vibe, which is like even at that level, if it is that good, then that's not what we're providing to people. What we're providing to people is music made by someone who cares and spent a lot of time working on making good music, and you're coming for the music that person made, not for something that's like better than everything else. You're literally trying to support an artist who's doing things the best they can and they've worked very hard at it and all that kind of thing.
I don't think that human connection is going to dissolve for a very long time.
I don't think so.
No.
And like you can't replicate that level of continuity.
I think
you just can't.
I think it's only going to get stronger as AI becomes more prevalent. People are going to seek out the more humanness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get shit if you're using AI heavily.
Oh, dude, somebody finds that out and nobody's going to your fucking sense. Like, who cares, dude? Who cares? There's no effort. There's no soul. There's no nothing
anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Even now, I've seen even artists I'm like kind of close with. They're using AI for their covers, and I've just seen like here and there people give them shit, like homies giving them shit, like really, man, you're doing that. So like, nobody. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I would only be okay with it if it's like a visual at your show, because then it's like weird and uncanny, and you're like, whoa, that's true.
There's a certain effect to that. There's like a level of intention. I have used AI to develop assets to then bring into Photoshop,
or something
so
like
that I can so that I can dial it to something that feels like it has a human touch, like the imperfection, not the AI imperfection, which is very recognizable, but like imperfection in general is like, I don't know, the feel, like it's just like what I don't know, people connect with that probably more than anything like that's actually there. Like it's like negative space is like a concept, or like silence in music,
exactly,
where it's just like, I don't know, the gaps, like the weird shit, the human touch is like what makes everything that's done well gravitational. It's the same contrast as stereo to mono or whatever. Like I don't know if that's a bit of a stretch, but like, you know,
jazz, man.
Yeah, it's the jazz.
Look at you going full circle with this shit.
You know what I'm saying, dude?
100%. And
RNG, baby.
That's right.
Which is a hilarious thing because we use a lot of random.
That's true.
And by the way, it's a little bit like using AI for something.
I know,
seriously, dude.
It's just like a thing gifting you a little bit of randomness in your thing to make it feel a little more human, even though it's
right. But
numbers.
It's tailored.
Yeah.
It's
we're making
heavily,
decisions.
Or corralled, I guess, is a better word. Like it's within set boundaries.
Yeah.
We like it that way because we don't control it anymore.
Right.
Yeah. I like that. Like giving up, there's like a process to it, I feel like, where it's like, that's why I like audio a lot. It's like generative stuff, or like kind of relinquishing the idea that you have control. But then the really important part of that process, I feel like I don't talk about a ton, or like that isn't recognized a bunch, is then taking that material and putting it back into context, where it's like reeling it back in and controlling it from there. It's like really interesting to have a conversation with your piece or like introduce things that, again, it feels improvised. It feels like stimuli that you can react to, but you have to react for it to be anything. If you just threw a bunch of random modulators on some shit and then bounced the whole tune and nothing was like dialed, you do it 4 or 5 times, you might get some really interesting results, but like you're not going to get that thing that you heard the first time around, but you didn't hear it in track 2, but you didn't hear, you heard it in track 3 the third time, whatever. But
yeah, exactly.
Oh, for sure.
That's the same concept as the
You got to finesse it.
You got to finesse
Indeed.
it. It needs the human touch, man.
You got to get that finesse. Guys.
Jazz.
We've talked about it before, but I want to say it again just because it's a fun thing. The Library of Babel is a very early like internet AI kind of thing. Like nobody called it AI back then when it was made in like 2007 or 10 or whatever the fuck, but it is AI. And it basically is, so there's a text version and a visual version where, let's just say the text version, you have like 3,000 characters for a page and it just randomly generates characters like infinitely every combination. So you can go through this library and be like, okay, I'm going to pick book like 14 billion. Let's see what's in that book. And most of the time it's just like nonsense. It's just random combinations of like numbers and capital letters and bullshit. But here and there, there's like actual sentences and actual like stories just because that is a possibility.
Because there's so many.
Yeah.
Right.
In these 3,000 characters, like how many stories can you fit? Like this whole conversation we just had for the past like 2 minutes or whatever is somewhere in the Library of Babel. But there's like fucking 14 trillion books. It's like so
Holy
much
shit.
noise and bullshit
Yeah, it's
to go
the same
through.
concept of you.
Multiverse?
Well, that's
Sorry.
Let's go.
That's what I was thinking
Or-
of as well.
Yeah.
if you give a bunch of apes a
Right.
typewriter,
Yeah, exactly,
and
exactly.
time
Yeah,
they'll write
yeah.
Shakespeare.
It's exactly
Yeah.
that.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Which
Yeah,
I don't
true.
necessarily agree with that.
No, I fully agree with that.
But-
If you give them an infinite amount of
I
time,
mean, that's okay if you do. That doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Hey,
It's opinions, bro.
I don't think it is though.
these are
I don't think it is
opinions,
opinion.
dude.
If you give them an infinite amount of time,
Yeah. It's still
Infinite.
just apes.
I honestly still do not think they would write out
No, I don't think so
Shakespeare.
either.
I do.
Word
Dude,
for
well,
word,
I'm on
no
the other
errors.
camp. Yeah.
This
I
is a
think they're
right
gonna
versus
fuck it
left
up.
side of the room thing because I think I'm with Austin on this one.
Let's go.
Like it's infinite.
Infinite.
That means endless, which means infinite permutations
Yeah.
of
Yeah, but they're just always going to be
So,
monkeys
that
doing it.
still. So that means they get
Right, they're
close
not
to Shakespeare
evolving.
like trillions of times and then fuck up one letter and then it's like, okay, that whole thing's blown. And then you try it again. Maybe they get one sentence in and then they blow it, but like infinite possibilities.
if they're
it will
incapable of pressing one key at a time, then it would never work.
happen. Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So like if there's certain limitations on their ability to actually write a word and a space, then it wouldn't work.
It's literally just monkeys typing on a keyboard.
But that's what's fascinating
all
about
it
it.
is.
This
It's
is
just a monkey
stimulating.
going
So-
like this.
So that's what fucked me up with the AI art shit is because that's all music and art really is like combination of pixels, combination of frequencies.
Mm.
At least that's what I thought. I don't know. I still maybe
It
kind of think it,
is, but it's siphoned through consciousness.
yeah, that's
Which
the
makes
thing. Awareness, consciousness,
big-
human
Big
intention.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, I like both sides of the argument. I don't feel
Yeah.
one way or other, honestly, because why?
Fair enough.
But-
Yeah. Do you guys want to move on to
Yeah, let's do it.
some talks?
Let's go. Do we only have one?
No, I got 2 other. It just wouldn't let me download them for some reason,
Oh.
so I got links for them.
Oh shit, you guys are doing a TikTok, John, now.
We started it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Caleb just had some funny
we're just
videos
doing
he
some
wanted to show
reacts.
us.
We're
Oh,
just
I
doing
gotta-
some reacts for the
Yeah.
pod.
Yeah, and
Sick.
it usually
Yeah.
we'll talk about it because it's going to be something interesting or stupid.
Can we get it on this
Let's
bottom
go.
screen? Because
Yeah, that's where it's going to go.
I am okay. Sweet.
That is, in fact, where it's going to go.
Austin needs to see.
Yeah.
Here's a really simple trick to do with a delay, and it's just stacking delays so that the second delay doesn't happen until the first delay.
Oh
Puts the
yeah.
time in
This
front
is
of
the fucking
Now,
move.
there's a lot
I
of
love
plugins
this
that
shit.
can do this
This is
like on
it's kinda
one
long, but it's
plugin,
really good.
But
Yeah.
I like to do it with 2 plugins because it kind of does something special. But let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so I've got this vocal right here. This is going to be the clean, and this is going to be the affected. Now, sometimes I'll do this instead of doing a send. It just is easier, and I'm trying to do this processing to a single thing.
Using
so it's just
old
fine
software.
to do it on the same track.
Pro Tools
So,
ass.
Right.
So this is up here. This is my clean signal. This is my my half note delay that I have going on. So it's sounding like this.
Definitely old song.
I'll show you love.
Just happens one time, just one half note delay. Then I'm going to add a second Echo Boy, and I'm going to put this one on
Got
a
the
ping
second
pong
boy?
and
Second boy.
16th and 8th note, right? This is going to be the thing I do my effects to, put my saturation on, and it's going to make it sound like this now.
I'll show you love.
So now it's got, so the first one happens, and then there's a half note delay before the first part of this comes in, which is already kind of cool on its own. But then you add in on the second Echo Boy, instead of doing the normal 16th, you go something and get like the rhythm echo, and you put it on reverse and do a 16th note, and it sounds now like this.
I'll show you love.
Yeah,
hard.
let's
Yeah,
go.
plug-in minimalist and like to use the least amount of things possible, but sometimes there's something special about stacking things.
Fuck yeah.
He needs to get some sleep.
Yeah, he does. He looks
Poor guy.
tired, dude. Poor.
Looking
Wait,
like
don't close
Biden
it.
up
Don't
in
close it.
here.
Scroll
Greasy.
back right above the little speaker thing. Show his monitor and his speaker. I have to just...
Is he using HS5s or what's?
No, but look at... Are they... Okay, wait. No, they're sideways. Okay, I see now.
No,
I
it's
thought he
probably
just had his
NS10.
speaker
Yeah.
like behind his monitor, so his speaker was just gone. I was
What is
like...
it? NS?
It's like, should I be listening to this guy?
It is NS10s. Yeah.
NS10s?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like very famous speakers,
Yeah.
obviously.
Really, really famous
Mid-range
mid-range speakers. Those
Oh,
are
sick,
probably
okay.
his nears. He's probably got.
I just
some
thought they were
bigger
like
ones
behind.
Over
So,
here.
but that clip shows that they're sideways. I thought they were just like behind. Oh wait, no, that's a different monitor. What is
No,
happening?
it's
It's
because
the
he's
right
it's 'cause
speakers.
he's at an angle here, and
Oh,
his
okay.
monitor's
see.
on big old arms, so he's
I
probably
see.
moved it around and shit like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, this is. I love this
Those
move.
speakers
I love
are
this move
legit.
so much.
Yeah, it's
This-
it's a super fun move.
I like that you brought this one up because this is almost what I was asking earlier with like,
Totally.
yeah, the delay processing thing. Like that's the way to do it. Fucking
Mhm.
just more delays and more weird effects and shifter splits
Yeah.
on
I mean,
delays are my favorite.
dude. Oh, shifter split. What do you mean?
Yeah, so it's that it's. I'm sure you know the concept. I just call it a shifter split
Mhm.
for some reason now. But if you take a frequency shifter and put it at 50% and then move up,
Yeah,
the
yeah, the
frequency thing, you get
yeah.
the, yeah.
Yeah.
So I made a little
phasing.
rack
Mhm.
where it's just parallel. You have like full dry and then a full wet signal, and then you're essentially just getting like the 50-50. So whatever you do with like your wet signal will just process it,
So you do
and then you can
the
affect
do the shifter split before the delay or after the delay?
both. So you could do like a delay, then shifter split that's like slowly getting faster over time, and then
Ooh.
have another delay after that, like echo that,
That's
and
cool.
then maybe another shifter. So it's you have like a fast rhythm
Oh,
and then
interesting.
a slower.
Actually, that could be kind of fucking crazy.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
Fuck.
Let's go. Let's go.
Makes you think,
Yes.
dude.
Right. Yeah,
God damn it.
dude.
All
That's
right.
how you get
I like
weird,
that one.
squishy effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we talked about recently. The freak shifter for Melda
Yeah.
goes fucking crazy.
I haven't
go
tried
hard.
that.
It has a feedback knob.
Mm.
Holy
No,
shit.
isn't that the Ubik one?
Dude.
Did you say
Yeah, Ubik.
Ubik or
Is it
Melda?
Melda?
Melda. I mean, Melda has
Oh,
a
it
feedback knob.
Ubik-
for
does have
sure.
a
Ubik and
feedback
Melda.
too. Okay.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Dude, the feedback knob is the shit.
Feedback on anything
It's-
is so goddamn.
I know.
Yeah, literally. Can you just add that as a knob on
I
everything?
know, bro. That's why Polygrid and Bitwig is fucking goated, is
Yeah.
because you can do all that stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think like in terms of that video, it's like double down on delays. That's badass. But like throw a whole other ass processing chain on your delay. Like you could do anything. Like I
yeah.
feel the same way about like reverb. Like reverb throws where you're throwing it through like a ton of OTT and distortion. It's like this is the only thing that's happening in your mix down if you're doing like a throw at the end of a bar or something, or like one of the very, very, very few things that's happening in your mix down, and you just get this like evolving crazy throw thing to then cut completely and suck you into the next like hit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an endless hole for sure.
Oh my god, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Modulating all those things constantly.
So much fun.
All right, for this next one, I'm going to turn down our main volume for Twitch here because I don't know what the volume's going to be at for this TikTok.
So we might get ear blasted.
We might get blasted.
Let's go.
Twitch won't.
Be ready, boys.
Thank you, see it.
Is it even gonna? There we go.
Buka's.
Yep.
Bukas?
All right.
Buka's finest.
All right, now I'll turn you guys up. Sorry about that, folks.
Check.
Hi, my name is Bukas Fines. I'm going to show you how I clip my drums and make
Calm
them
down.
crunchy. So I made this drum loop and it sounds and looks a little something like this.
Ooh. What's that little analyzer?
And we need to clip it. So for the kick drum, make sure to lower some of the fundamental.
Correct.
Next up, I'm going to
Don't
throw a
do it
transient
on-
shape on there.
Don't do it on 0 latency.
Right? Linear phase on a bit.
Use linear.
And last but not least, I clip that shit off. And it gets chunky. Turn it up for 4 dB. Clip it for 4 dB roughly. Yes. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the snare. This is how the snare is looking with this EQ curve. Next up, transient shaper. Look at that snap. Look at that snap.
Snap.
And then, of course, clipper
What transient
Without-
shaper did he use?
with
He used
He didn't
the
show.
Kill Hearts one.
8
Kill
dB
Hearts.
Okay.
boost, 16 dB clipping. So if you want it crunchy,
Yes.
you can clip that shit.
Let's
For the
go.
percussions, I made it a bit different. First, the transient shaper, then the clipper, and last but not least, Pro Q to clean up the low end.
This time he has it on linear.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
And
because
that's
you clip shit.
How you
And
clip your drums, make them crunchy.
the low end
and
comes
His
out.
mustache looks so good.
It's
That is
a clean mustache.
Wide.
It's
It's
wide.
a
Boy,
wide
too.
stash.
It's a thick boy.
He clipped that thing.
You
fucking right.
It's nice, dude. Look at his sausage.
He's
as
showing
hell.
some upper. He's showing,
And he's got some
showing some upper lip.
Yeah.
thick
like
boy
skin right
clouds,
over the
too.
lip. Yeah.
I know.
Oh, those are some clouds.
Yeah,
Jesus
he's got
Christ.
some thick boys.
Beautiful teeth.
I like
See,
his lighting too. He's got the pink and blue.
Yeah, it's very 2018. So yeah, this is basically what I do too.
I agree with all that. Yeah.
The one thing he didn't talk about was the ceiling on the percussion. So like the way he was using clipping, it looked like on the snare and the kick, it was just like the ceiling was kind of at the top. And then for the percussion, he brought the ceiling down instead of driving the input gain and then fucking with the output gain.
Oh.
Which
He just says
see
that he
here.
clips it. Even
Yeah,
though
like
he
you can-
brings the threshold down.
Yeah, like he brought the threshold down very slightly on that one, and then like probably snare same thing.
Wow, good catch. I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't think about that ever. That was like a big takeaway. Yeah, snares a little bit less
Yeah.
on the ceiling, and then yeah, for the percussion, it's way down.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's a thing that you kind of, if you're understanding how clipping works, you know to like,
Yep.
for
Yeah,
me
it's
at least,
way
like
low.
if I'm gonna, so like mixing just now, I was working on a thing and I would rather do the volume within the channel to channel than on the main group. You know, sometimes I'm like,
Mm.
bring the group down and then bring the channels accordingly. In like some of them quieter, like have the loudest one and then bring the channel down to where the loudest one should be and then bring the tracks down from there.
Mm-hmm.
But like I kind of like just having autonomous all those channels. But
Yeah.
then after that happens, then I got to clip them,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't
Right.
want to drive them then back up and then turn it back down.
Yeah.
So you bring the
Yeah.
threshold down on your clipper to find that spot, which kind of gets annoying sometimes because then you're like,
It can.
now I throw a tool on before my limiter to
Yeah,
push the
it's
volume
another variable.
up, and then
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
like, there's fucking annoying.
That's cool. I
Things
need
that
to follow that guy. You already knew him.
Yeah, Buka's Finest is like
Yeah.
a legendary
Yeah,
ass
he's-
fucking 140 guy. He
Okay.
plays like infrasound and stuff.
Okay.
He's got some side project. I forget exactly what it's called, but
Mm.
I don't
sick.
remember either.
Fuck yeah.
Two Rangers maybe or something.
Mm.
Sick.
Two Manuels.
Yeah.
Two Manuels.
Manuel.
All right.
You may never EQ again.
This
Oh,
one might
Jesus.
get us tilted. We'll see.
Oh.
Here
we go.
I saw this one and I was like,
gun.
well, look who
He starts it out really
What a
heavy.
predatory
huh?
line to
Yeah,
start.
I know. Jesus Christ.
I know.
He needs to sleep too.
Why can't I scroll down?
He's like
I know, right? It's just
falling
broken.
asleep.
It's by waves. So
I've been up 3 days EQing.
And I'm never going to do it again.
What? If we succeed.
if we succeed,
If it's así.
We know you know how to EQ. If you think about EQ technology, it
Thanks,
hasn't
Shai.
really advanced in the last 30 years. And we thought that there has to be a better
Not at
way
all.
to
hasn't really advanced. Pro Q3, bro.
Yeah, what?
Shut your mouth.
get rid of cues and frequencies and nodes and all that stuff that's really tedious and technical about EQ. And why not have the technology do the work for you, go into where you want to go without having to worry about the technical aspects? We chose to address the 3 pillars of EQ: resonance suppression, traditional EQ, and EQ matching, 3 plugins. And if we succeed, it's going to be a really easy job to EQ from now on. This is the Threshold Rider. For post-production, they're going to go crazy for that, and also for live. It's amazing. What are the chances you can make it happen for the other plugins as well?
Sure, we
Yeah.
can do it.
How does this do the...
Not with rockets.
Well, it listens to your content. Each plugin in the Curve series can learn your audio. Equator
Were they rockets?
stabilizes and protects
Yeah,
it
I
from
think so.
anomalies.
Go.
The next
I know, right?
This makes your
Like-
sound good.
and even provide you with a few options.
I'm going to EQ
The
again.
last plugin will be able to match any target you give it. It's
They're making this because they can't EQ.
going to minimize errors. It's going to actually do the work for you with a very intuitive GUI that allows you to control a lot of technology with
it's
very
fast?
simple and basic controls.
Yeah.
Click here on the AI, and then it will scan automatically. From there, we can just change the curves. One click, that's all we need.
That's really great. So if we're going to start with this animation here. Yeah, it's a little bit too warm. Anything a little bit more cold, more scientific, I guess. By listening to your content, I know what your instrument is, I know what kind of mix you
no.
have, and I can offer you, in fact, create target for the EQ. That EQ is going to take your content and static and dynamically strive to get that signal to sound like that target. That's a very simple way to look at an EQ. I need my sound to be more like And that's how you would talk to an engineer. I want my sound to be brighter, to be higher here, to be lower there. Wouldn't it be nice if the engineer knew what you wanted to do?
Let's go.
So it basically looks to me to be like a soothe slash tonal.
Yeah. It's a
balanced
spectral
combo.
compressor
But maybe a little more advanced
with like some
somehow.
shit going
Well, it's
on.
because it has some curves that you can like load in. So it's not just a soothe on a pink noise curve. Like
Yeah.
you can have
Yeah.
it really be like, this is a synth bass that I've loaded in.
Oh.
Have it listen to that synth bass and then be like, oh, okay, you want it to be more like this shape. And then it'll sit there and dynamically or statically EQ it to kind of match. Which could get you into trouble, I think, pretty quickly. Like you could make some pretty dull sounding stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of same
Yeah.
thing that
Soothe.
Soothe
Can
does
do.
to a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
would
people's
agree.
tracks. If they overuse
Yeah.
Soothe, it just sounds like
Mhm.
flat as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like have you used like the ProQ EQ match function?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like that, but it can only be static. This seems like a dynamic version of that.
Right.
Mm.
Maybe it could be more transparent and like introduce some more dynamics if there's a dynamic component to it. But
Right.
Right. And there's 3 different ones. I don't really understand the difference between them yet. This doesn't really go into them that well. They just kind of talk about their
Emmy
clout.
Award winner.
And you know they're going to be like $400 for all 3.
Oh,
I like
It's
how
gonna be out
in
of
the
control.
ad they're like, we've optimized our marketing to be really obviously for you.
It's
He's like,
waves.
it's too warm. We need it to be more scientific. It's like, why did you put that in the ad?
I like
That
how he
was such
started
a
saying
weird
I.
thing.
They're
Yeah,
so
I was
detached
thinking that too.
from reality.
Yeah,
those boys.
So
Yeah.
weird.
It's very odd.
We were just trying to sell the shit, get it out the door, make them know that we're making it scientific.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of using that spectral compressor that we've talked about quite
Oh, the ugly
quite
one?
a bit. Yeah, the ugly
That's
one.
really sick though. Yeah.
I need to download
as
that
like
still.
as a sidechain for things to other things.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I like the slingshot method has been like my go-to for mixing recently, or at least in the last like year or whatever. And we've talked about that a bunch, but like track to track, going through and like pulling like wide bells on individual sounds and finding where they kind of sit a little bit better in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was doing like yesterday was just putting a spectral compressor on things that I feel like need to be like separated from other things and then sidechaining them to those things.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
With spectrally, so you're getting like a very clean
Scientific.
dipping, yeah,
Like transparent,
yeah, very transparent version of like trying to EQ the sound to make it sit a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be working really nicely. I was really enjoying the kind of the feel that you get out of that.
Fuck yeah. That's
it's
like you've been doing
It's
that.
like not very noticeable,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Right.
You
I mean,
just
that's
hear
what you
things
want.
get louder and
Mhm.
clearer,
Mm-hmm.
which
That's
is nice.
that's cool. You've been diving into that. I actually the past like 2 weeks have been playing with that a little bit too.
Okay.
Mainly on my build-ups and like breakdowns. I seem to use it more.
Yeah, because they're like super full of shit.
Exactly.
Like there's just like big pads and whatever other
Just
kind of stuff.
all
Yeah.
of the shit. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
like a weird moment where you can like heavily be maximal and still have things make sense.
I agree with that. It's
Right?
more about just like general energy shifts than it is about like definition.
Exactly.
energy
Yeah.
shifts.
General energy shifts.
Yeah.
But dude, yeah, it's so good for that. I had a problem like for a while though where I was like I would like throw this one connected to this one and this one connected to this and this and this. And eventually things were just looping into themselves where it was almost just canceling out.
Whoa.
So I realized I was like, okay, you need to have like one like focus element. What is like
Right.
the
A cool
Yeah,
guy.
thing?
yeah.
What is your cool guy of the build
Right.
up?
So you could do it like percussion to any kind of noisy things that you have sitting on. Like I have like a lot of like noise just happening on purpose. So percussion to that is really nice because it helps the percussion poke out in those moments because the noise just masks the fuck out of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be pretty aggressive with it as well in situations like that. And then like a lead noise to other melodic kind of layers is really nice.
Mm.
And then potentially like a lead against the bass in one way or the other. You could go either direction in that depending on what you
right.
want to be the focal point.
Yeah.
But those are very nice
Fuck yeah. dude.
examples.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Well, we did it, boys.
Yeah, we did.
Episode
Holy
176.
shit. What a fucking amazing episode.
Back left.
Back.
Thanks for
left.
coming,
Thanks for
Rev.
having me, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. It's always a fucking pleasure. You guys
Hell
are the
yeah.
shit.
We need to have you
Anytime.
on more
Let's
often.
go.
Yeah,
man.
we'll
I would
do
love
we'll
to
do
come
this
back.
more. We'll do this
Yes.
more.
Where can people find you on the internet?
SoundCloud, Backleft, Instagram, Backleft Music, Twitter, Backleft Music. If you're a Twitter person, even though the algorithm's just absolutely fucked at this point,
Yeah, it's
I do not
Dogwater.
see anything good on Twitter anymore. But yeah, that's where you could find me at. There's some interviews and stuff that I have in my Instagram bio if you want to hear me talk about nerd shit or whatever.
Let's
so.
go.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
That's what's up.
Let's
All right,
go,
folks.
man.
You know the thing.
Follow us.
Subscribe, follow. Yeah, do those things. We love you.
Oh wait, real quick, I have a plug.
Do it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm headlining the Black Box
Let's go.
on November 9th with FICA, Absalom, secret guest.
FICA and Absalom?
The
Holy
FICA,
shit.
yeah, FICA, Absalom, secret guest, and my
Secret
homie
guest.
Smoke AM.
Let's
Oh!
go.
The goat.
Oh,
Yes.
I just met him at the last Black Box. that we were
Shawnee
at.
is one of the best people on the fucking planet.
Let's
dude.
go.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Quick side note.
Looking forward to
How
it.
good of a name would special guest be?
Awesome.
Special
I talked
guest.
about
I was
this.
just gonna say.
An
I was just gonna say that.
amazing
Yeah.
name.
Special
Yes,
guest would
dude.
be so good.
That'd be
Awesome,
so
dude.
good.
It's
It's
the
just-
most troll name
Yeah.
ever.
Absolutely, dude. The visuals are just question marks, like fucking.
Yeah.
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 maybe
there's branding
maybe
there.
that can be like a super group of like all the homies in
Yeah.
Denver are
Oh,
secretly
yeah,
special
and
guests.
we
Just
just
call me
rotate.
special guest.
And you just rotate?
So
Yeah.
whoever
Yes,
plays
dude.
is just a random guy. You
Yeah.
always wear like a balaclava.
Oh, so we have to do
Yeah,
the mask
like-
thing then at that point?
Yeah.
Something. You
Yeah.
could be a president's
We
mask.
could be the Riddler.
It could be.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
could be the Rizzler if you want.
Oh, you could be the Rizzler.
Yeah, dude. You all just pull from one Dropbox folder with 700 songs in it.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Yes. That'd
That's
be
such
sick.
a good idea.
That would be fun.
All right, folks.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Don't steal our idea, motherfuckers.
Thanks, lads.